1, 2,
3. Welcome to All Things Gray podcast, where we talk about God, Jesus, and all things in between. That's good. Let's go.
I am Natalie Gray.
And I am Azizi Gray.
Yes.
And we are
The Grace.
The Grace. That's good.
So yes, our first question is, how did we meet? That's a common question we get.
Yeah. June?
No.
July?
July 12th.
July 12th. Okay, July 12th.
It was a Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
It was industry night. I got invited by my friend to go out that night. I felt compelled to wear a suit. It was a night at this club called Poppy here in Los Angeles. And that was my first time at this club. And while I was inside, I was intentionally seeking. I believed that God had a wife for me. And I never knew where she was going to be. But it was on my mind to intentionally seek. No
and
one
that was
inside
everywhere
the club.
you went.
Everywhere I went. Kept my eyes open. Knowing I was on mission. Especially coming from where the previous weeks of me spending time with God and defining my life and knowing exactly who I was through God's eyes.
Yeah.
I know who I was at that moment. And so I felt compelled. I'm not like anyone that's going to be showing up. I'm going to show up differently. And so intentionally seeking. Didn't find her inside the club.
No.
Until outside the club.
I was invited by a friend, and I pulled up and stayed till the end because I was helping to clean up.
Yeah.
And so I step outside the club because there's still people in and they're trying to get everyone out the club. And I'm outside just standing like this, like just looking at just jaded by this world. A reason why I was jaded too was because this was the very first time that I had been outside at a club to this level, to this degree sober. I haven't indulged in spirits and wines, but tequila was my thing. Yeah. And so being in this atmosphere, I saw people downing tequila, and for the first time ever, I was able to sit in that VIP section and not feel a type of way, or my body wasn't asking for it and wanting of it. And so the night ends. I step outside. I'm waiting for everybody to leave because people are drunk. Y'all know how it is.
Yeah. Pilled.
Security's trying to get people out, and people are taking photos. And so I'm just jaded waiting outside, like probably looking like this.
Yeah.
And I'm just...
With her glasses on.
Yeah, my scientific looking glasses. And I'm outside, and I'm just looking and just people watching. And here comes this man.
Yeah. And I look over. I'm outside figuring out what's the next move. And
yeah, because he was about to go out and continue the night.
Maybe.
While I was trying to get home. Actually, I had work in like 2 hours, 3 hours.
You was playing games. And I see you. She's by herself. And so I approach. And so I say in my Jamaican accent,
this
what's
is
your
exactly
name?
how it went.
What's your name?
Sunshine.
I know your name, that. What's your real name?
And in that moment when he gave me that humor, something in me just said, like, put your guard down. And so my guard went down. Yeah. And I don't know why, ladies, but I know why. The Holy Spirit led me to give this man my full government name.
Yes.
And so I said Natalie Sarai Henriquez.
Yes. And I was like, there she is.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
You saying your whole name was new. A lot of people, even if I asked you for your real name, you would have gave me your first name. But you saying your real whole name it cracked my code.
And I truly believe that was me for the first time really owning my full name. Because Natalie was a name that I had tried to run away from for so long.
Yeah. And I think we just needed to introduce each other, encounter one another.
It was really short. I also didn't feel like he was trying to get at me.
Yeah.
I feel like oftentimes when I've been out, maybe I have been on that energy to want that attraction. And for the first time when I stepped out that night, I was not seeking for a single thing. I don't know why he's laughing like this right now. But I was not looking.
I believe you.
And for the first time ever, that's why I say I was so in this in-between of like... Yeah. Do I want that? But everything in me stepped out just being present to see what was going on and then to envision my life in the future.
Right.
Because we do music, right? And I was like, and that's one thing I told you, like, you were like, what are you doing here, right? Or who are you here for? I was like, well, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I'm also here because I want to see what this looks like. Yeah. And I want to see how not to do it and how do it for the glory of God.
Right, and that's how we connected just on music. And I was like, all right, we're going to the studio like tomorrow or in a couple of days. Like, you should come through.
Yo, and you know in LA when these dudes and these dudettes be saying that, like...
She thought we was playing, but we was really going to the studio the next day.
And he never invited me.
Because she didn't answer me. I texted her in the morning with a lovely text, ladies, okay? All the men out there, when you meet your queen, okay, let her know the next morning it was a pleasure meeting you and we should definitely connect. I didn't hear from her for 13 hours.
I was playing hard to get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she could have answered me though.
I was busy too though, working.
Okay. Come on now, I know you were scrolling the gram though. So who were you when we met?
I was confused maybe in the in-between. Really trying to figure out if I wanted to stay the same or if I wanted to keep growing. And outside that club, I was in a decision-making process. Yeah. Of why am I here if I know I want better and I know I want to grow and this is the old lifestyle that I had always been living.
That's good. Who was I? I was a person that was stepping into my leadership. I no longer wanted to be like anyone, act like anyone, and that's why I wore the suit that night. God was calling me forward, and I wanted to be obedient, and I think that was the first, like, just ask of God. Put his suit on. Trust me, because I did feel a little weird, and I was like, all right, let's go. And so I stepped out in a suit and started to follow God.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Share 3 things to a woman that is listening and watching that wants to receive the blessings that God has for her.
That's good. Number 1 thing, check in with God.
Yeah.
Check in with God. I mean, anytime you step outside the house and check your intentions, why you are going to a location, what you're searching for, what you're feeling. Yeah. And also write down what it is that you need versus what it is you want. Yeah. As I had said, oftentimes we seek the things we want because that's something we're comfortable with knowing. And it takes discovery to figure out what exactly it is we need. Yeah. Because oftentimes we've just been operating on survival mode. And follow through with that. Like, don't settle for less. If what's on there, you read that every day, it then becomes part of your identity. Yeah. It sits in your brain. And so when a man comes along that is the opposite of this paper, you make a decision to keep going the right way, as opposed to slipping into old patterns.
Things that I have for men. Yes, same thing. Check in with God. You don't know yourself if you don't know who you are through God's eyes. God will tell you who you are. God has shown you signs along the way of how he's created you and what he has created you for. We ourselves don't answer the call and we deny God. So check in with God, submit to God, and then write down what God is telling you and who God is telling you you are. Because just like you're saying to women, the more you read that, and the more you step out and start to see things that don't align with that, then you know it's not for you. If it's taking away your peace and your joy and your confidence, it's not for you. God's not tearing you down. God's building you up. And so just knowing that you're checking in with God, you're writing it down, and then you start walking with Jesus and accepting Jesus in your life. I'm telling you, you will receive everything God has for you and better. First episode down.
Yeah.
All Things Great podcast. We love y'all. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and we'll see you next episode. Peace.
See ya.